Hello, let's do a casual review of Less by Andrew Sean Greer, a 2017 novel. Yes, Arthur Less, a 50-year-old kind of middle list gay author, is finds out that his boyfriend is getting married and gets an invitation. And rather than accept that invitation, he goes on a worldwide jaunt of he basically all these kind of marginal literary events that are going on. He decides to say yes to all of them and constructs an itinerary that will take him literally around the world: Mexico, Italy, Germany, Morocco, India, and Japan, all in the effort to not be in the room that he dreads, which is the room where his ex-boyfriend Freddie Palua is getting married. Younger man. He comes from the book kind of reflects on that relationship, reflects on his earlier relationship with an older man, Robert, a Pulitzer Prize winning poet. And indeed, within the novel, Robert wins the award, is like kind of shocked about it, but makes a point of saying to Arthur, this isn't about love. They don't love me. This award is looking for, it has a slot open for a certain type of poet. I just happen to be the one this year that fits the criteria, and they're just slotting me in there. It does not have to do with anything about that. And someone else says there, at that same celebration, one of the other poets, a woman, says like, "Yeah, Arthur, I hear you're writing. Don't win any awards, because then you'll end up doing is going around talking and not actually getting any writing done." There's this thing of Arthur is fairly hapless. His latest novel has been turned down by his publisher, and when he describes it to a woman out in the Sahara, it's about a middle-aged gay white guy who's wandering the streets feeling sorry for himself. And it's like, she's like, I have a hard time giving a shit about that. Like, some white guy feels sorry for himself. And she's like, well, even if it's a gay guy, it's like, yeah, even if it's a gay guy, that kind of, that moment has passed, that people are going to be interested in that story, or going to want to feel sorry for that guy. And um it's interesting that this book is about a middle-aged white gay guy wandering the world on fabulous trips, getting to sleep with hunky guys. And there's a certain sense that you get, you would, if this was played completely straight, and even as it is played, I think there's been some rankling over, you know you are so fucking privileged. And I, even this reread, when I kind of know how the novel's going, there's still sort of a thing of like, you are so privileged. So I am jealous of your life, Arthur Less. Screw you for feeling sorry for yourself. There's that kind of feeling. But it's also, Arthur Less is a fool. He is a holy fool. He is an innocent fool in this book. People talk about how they're part of his mystique, his attraction that people seem to be kind of drawn to, is he has kind of an innocence to him, and a good-hearted innocence at that. And it is very much a comedic novel. The things that happen in this book very much are, it's not laugh out loud uproarious, but it's like he's always the butt of the jokes. One of the things is this whole idea of an evening with Arthur Less, and how he had one of these disastrous readings where like nobody showed up. And yeah, it was called An Evening with Arthur Less because nobody, he feels, gives a shit about Arthur Less. Now, the undertow in this book, though, is there's all these people who said like, "Oh, I read your last book, I loved it." Even the woman who says like his from the plot synopsis of his latest book, she said like, "Well, I loved your last book. You made me cry at the end, you bastard." So he's got some power. He's obviously got talent. He's a beautiful writer. Even his the enemy in this book, a guy who calls him a bad gay because he writes books about sad gay guys, when you should be, the political imperative is to be writing books that celebrate and uplift and make you feel great about being who you are. Um, does still, says like, well, of course you're a really good writer, but your subject matter is such that you're poisoned from doing, poison for prizes, and you're not going to be on the gay canon because you don't fit the particular political, social kind of movement of the moment. And it's Arthur's like, well, it's kind of who I am. A part of this book is him sorting out who he is going to be going forward and what he actually wants. And also, there's just that as a cis white guy, um, there's that thing of like, well, how do you talk about your issues in a world that, yeah, we've heard a lot from white guys. We don't need to hear more from white guys. Well, how do you like? But art is sort of going to come out of that. People don't want you fishing in other people's territories. That's verboten at the moment. So how do you make your way? How do you still have a voice? And this comedic turn of that Andrew Sean Greer goes here, still very melancholy, still sad, still slightly irritating with just kind of all the kind of travel porn in it. Um, is is a way of doing that. I mean, and this book, ironically, won Andrew Sean Greer the Pulitzer Prize for literature in his year. And I think a part of the reason it did that is because, like his character in the book, Andrew Sean Greer figured out, oh, I can't do this straight. That is not going to fly in this world. I need to figure out a different way of telling stories that will gain that audience. Well, people will listen to this if I do it with humor. Whereas if it's just like, I'm a poor white guy traveling the world, sleeping with guys and feeling sorry for myself, don't you feel sorry for me? It's like, no. Don't you think I'm kind of ridiculous? Don't you think it's kind of funny? And I mean, a part of the humor is more of a kind of a deep humor of the ridiculousness of the human condition, which I think I got more out of this reading. I think the first time I read this, I was more on the irritated side. And it's only through listening to other people's reviews that I was like, oh, there is different things here. I also heard other people who were completely, fuck this book, fuck all the, it's whiny whiteness kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, the whiny whiteness is there, but I think it's made fun of enough. And it's a hopeful book for us as white guy, I guess. In the end of the day, it's saying like, you could still write a book that's interesting. Um, yeah, I mean, there's a whole class thing here though that it's Arthur. I am not somebody who can afford to travel worldwide. And from that, and just like, or just have guys falling off, or women, or whatever, trip, wanting me in every port. That's beyond me. So there's a certain kind of level that this only works as a fantasy book for me. I love him despite being a little frustrated with him at the end. And I'm looking forward to reading Less is Lost. I think that's what it's called. I keep on forgetting the name of it, but reading Less is Lost later. So yeah, that is my review of Less, a novel by Andrew Sean Greer. More videos later.